I'm in Johannesburg. I'm in South Africa. But I don't know if you know that I was actually made in England.
I did.
Did you?
Which makes you so special.
I wasn't. I was born in New Zealand, but my mum and dad were English, and they were expecting me when they went across to New Zealand. So I have a link.
You have a link. And so do you come to the UK often?
I not as much anymore. I used to visit quite a lot, but I still have I have friends and some family. So yes, I do. I'm overdue a visit. I haven't been for about 4 years, I think. So I'm overdue a visit.
You definitely are. So we can have a little coffee.
Yes.
So tell me, what is it you do?
What do I do? So at the moment, my main job and my main source of income, if you like, is to do TV commercials and other modeling. So that's a commercial model. That's my main sort of job, if you like. But I think what keeps me busier than that is my social media engagement and all the things that I do around that. So that's and creating content and talking to people. So that's become my job.
And you know, I find it fascinating because you have really kind of broken the stigma of being, you know, this influencer that we see these days, where you have to be a certain age, you've got to look like Kim Kardashian, you know, you've got to be in like, you know, I don't know, in the beauty industry, you know, flaunting all the Prada stuff and everything. And here you've come along and said, well, actually, I'm going to own this, and I can show all the other beautiful ladies in the world that they too can feel as young as your heart feels, right? Because we always feel so, I still feel very young, like I still feel like in my teens in my heart, even though, you know, I'm going to be 37. And it's almost like you don't really seem to like grasp that. So, and that self-made girl boss, you know, this is what I'm constantly telling women, that I don't care which country you're in, what language you speak, what the color of your skin is, if you're big, if you're small, if you're thin, if you're not, what your age is, that you can really fulfill anything that your heart desires. You just need to believe in it. You've done exactly that. So what through that? How did it all evolve?
Well, it was a bit accidental, actually. I didn't plan it because I used to work in and around the IT companies and IT departments. I used to work as a technical writer and a software tester and that sort of thing. So it was a bit inadvertent. It was because of the interest in my silver hair that I got so much interest, and friends said to me, well, why don't you try, seeing if you can join an agency? So I did. And even then I didn't expect there to be any interest in my message, that it's never too late. But I think that I really do feel that we as women, and I think it's in our country, in your country, and probably all over the world, that we start to feel bad about ourselves the minute we turn, I don't know, it can be even younger than 30. I think 30 is a number. But I've heard of that women in their, young girls in their teens start having anti-aging treatments and things. So, and that tells me that we just start to feel bad about ourselves. The minute our face softens and things start to age, we feel bad about ourselves, and we start feeling that we're not worth as much. And I think we really have to change that, because youth is not the only measure of beauty. Older, we value old things, but we don't seem to put the same value on old people, which is quite strange. And I think we have to adjust our minds to think that that lines and wrinkles are not unattractive. It's different. I think we just have to reframe it and stop thinking that only a smooth, gorgeous, face is the only thing that's gorgeous. I mean, there's such beauty in soft faces. There's such warmth and softness, and it's a different kind of beauty. Even though the most of the women that I talk to are my sort of age, I'm getting more and more younger people as well who sort of see, I want to look like you when I'm older and so on. But do you know what? I don't think that it's your wrinkles that make you look old.
What is it?
I think it's so many other things. I think
Your
it's
mindset.
your mindset. I think it's your posture. I think it's how active you are, how quickly you move, how much you are, how technically savvy you are, because I think that that's something that you have to keep up there. How current you are with what's happening, you know, what you're listening to, what you're thinking about. That's also so important.
How do you motivate yourself to learn what you know, Instagram and algorithms and posting at the right time and going to shoots? And how have you, because there's young women these days that want to do what you're doing and they still don't even know, and you've kind of mastered it.
I think that, you know, I changed, and I talk about this quite a lot as well, is that because I made a lot of changes. I was dreading being 50 as well. I was stuck in the job that I'd been in stuck in the job. I loved my job and I loved the company, but I'd been there for 20 years. So it was time to move on. And I wasn't doing a lot of things. I was a mum and a wife and running a home. And I didn't think that I would ever have a chance to be that person who would change their life and become active and change their job and end up with quite a nice glamorous job as well. But I think that the thing was that I was fearful, and now I'm still fearful a lot of the time. But I have learned. It sounds crazy. I've learned that it's okay to be frightened. I didn't know that before. I think that when things were very scary, I sort of backed down and I avoided them and I slipped through the cracks. But now I do it even though I'm scared, and I'm terrified a lot of the time. But I know that I can learn it and I can tackle it, and that's what I do. I just sort of take a deep breath and I do it. So I think it's about really finding or feeling the fear and acknowledging the fear, but doing it anyway.
Fear paralyzes you. It stops you in your tracks. It stops you from evolving. It stops you from learning. It stops you from being who you want to be, right? And what you're saying is, but it's okay to be afraid. No one's saying that you're not allowed to be afraid, but be afraid and do it anyway.
It's
What's
hard.
the worst that can happen?
Oh, but it's hard, and I think there's a lot of things. It's fear of failure. For me, that's a big one. Fear of rejection. You know, fear of making a fool of yourself. There's so many things that we're afraid of. And I'm honestly, I'm often really, really nervous about something, really, and I just most of the time just do it.
So what advice would you give to women when they say, you know what, I want to be able to start my own business, or I want to be able to learn a new language, but I'm scared? What would you say to them at that? Like, how do you tackle it? How do you say to the fear, right, you can go there for a second and I'm going to step forward, right? And you can be there, but I know you're there and that's fine, but how do you kind of like program yourself?
I think that I've learned as well that that everything is just small steps. So we have this idea of, you know, a lot of women say to me, oh, I'd love to try modeling. And, you know, but it seems like a very big, how do you get there? So I always just say, do one thing, do one little thing, one tiny thing. If you want to have a big career change, perhaps volunteer in that line. You know, something that it's just to move, because I think that we get so you use the word paralyzed, and I think it's a very good one. We can't move, but if we can take just send one email to someone and say, I'm interested in helping you out on weekends. I don't know, just that small thing can sometimes, not even sometimes, I think it does get the ball rolling.
Absolutely. I think it was Martin Luther King that said, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But whatever it is, you've got to keep moving. And I think that's it. That's the key right there. Yes. Momentum. It's taking that small little step. In fact, I was having this conversation with my sister today, and something fell into place. And I was like, I can't believe that what I, you know, envisaged, like, I don't know, say 4 months ago. And I was thinking to myself, how am I even going to get to do this, is now coming together but I started by doing something so small, like building a website and doing something very small, that all of a sudden it's taken, you know, this force of energy by itself.
It can take on its own life. Interesting, isn't it?
It really, and but you know what? I love exchanging these type of stories, because when people get to listen to us, they can be motivated by it, to know that, no, you know, a lot of people with scarcity mindset will say, well, that's because, you know, you've got this and I haven't got that, or you were born there and I wasn't born there. And that's a real scarcity mindset. Like, you've got to work from an abundance mindset. So you've got to really believe that there's enough for everyone and more. And when you start operating from there, you start thinking, well, it's okay. It's fine if she's made it. It's fine if that company's a multi-billion-pound company. It doesn't matter that I've just started. There is enough for me too.
Yes. Yes. And I think we tend to think, I know that I can do this. You know, you think I won't be as good as somebody. But there's space for all of us. You know, there's not one top model in the world. You know, there are a lot of, or one best hairdresser, or one. So I think that there's a place for us all to find our niche.
Did you have any mentors? Are there anyone that you know that influenced you, or that you reached out to, that helped you in your growth?
I think I've always had, the company I worked for 20 odd years we were all women, quite interestingly enough, about 50 of us, which was quite strange. So a very loving, that was a lovely stage of my life, and I loved my job and I loved the company. So I think I started growing there and learning a lot of things. I think working with a company of women is a lovely thing. Since then, in this stage, you know, I think Instagram is such a wonderful place. And I honestly feel that my people here are that. There's so many wonderful, and we're a like-minded. I'm in this beautiful like-minded circle of friends. I don't feel like it's the social media arm's length thing, really. So I feel that there's lots of older women that I look up to and admire, and you know, on this platform. So I think probably them. I mean, I'm just so many beautiful things, and it's not all just about fashion and hair and things. You know, there's just lovely ideas that are shared, and we're all we seem to be on the same page, most of us. I love that.
I love what you've just said there, because again, most people would be like, you know, I need a mentor, and I need to find someone that I've got to look up to. But what you've actually done is found the beauty of all the different people that you connect with, and because we all have gifts, and
we support each other. We all support each other, whether it's directly. I mean, I talk to a lot of people that have become my friends here that I talk to, but even if it's not them, we all, it's a loving community. Do you find that? I really do. I really value my Instagram family. Greatly.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, with Self-Made Girl Boss, I wanted it to be a safety net for women to feel comfortable and feel, you know, secure, that they could share their fears and share their darkest moments and feel okay with that. And by doing that, it's brought to light the most incredible women that I've ever met, and they have done transformations within themselves that I just thought, wow, the power of believing, the power of believing in yourself, where it can take you.
That's the other one. That's the power of you know, years ago, I bought a little, she believed she could, so she did. And it's still on my bedroom wall. And there's so much in that, and it sounds so easy, but it's not an easy step. But if you can believe, if you can get there, that's when it starts to roll, I think.
It's like magic.
Yes.
I can't explain it.
I know.
but it really is magical. Like the power of our brains, the power that we have as people. You know, when I come across certain women that, you know, they don't believe that in myself, I just want to say, you have no idea how powerful you are.
Yes.
Because you can create a different journey to your life if only you'll just believe in how beautiful you are.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly my song. I believe that completely. And for different reasons, we don't believe in ourselves, and I think that's where the ageism comes in, where we start to feel less likely to believe in ourselves as we get older with the current view.
What are your thoughts about you know, having children at a certain age, being married at a certain age?
I think the older I get, the more I rethink everything. Ugh. I mean, I did it all. I got married very young. I was married for 25 years, long time.
Wow.
And had a daughter. And I realized that was another thing that, I know it was great and it was lovely, but it was the expected thing. You know, I wasn't even 20.
Wow.
So, and it was good. I mean, it worked well for a long time, and it hasn't. And I also don't think it has been not a success, because we are still friends, and we have a beautiful daughter, and so I've reframed that as well. I think that divorce is not the terrible thing we feel it must be at all. And now I have a partner. I have a boyfriend, but we are not married. We don't plan on getting married, and we don't live together either. So,
oh, okay. How does that work?
we've been together. Yeah, we've been together for oh goodness, 14 years or something, and we don't we don't live together. That for me is, I think, I don't know if I should say this, I might be unpopular, but I think the secret to long-term happy relationships is living apart. I really do.
It's so true. We need our own space.
We really do. We really do, and I've found a relationship that's committed, and it's authentic, and we decide every day if we are together, and we still are, and it feels very real to me.
Sure. So what would you say then for women that are rushing to be married and to just want it all now?
I think it's like everything. I think we have to analyze why we're doing things. You know, I think a lot of what we do, we kind of do on autopilot. You know, we hear, you know, messages from society and from our parents, and age again, same thing. It's bad to be old, and I think we have to unlearn we have to really analyze what those are, and what the real reason is. And I don't have a problem with people getting married, and I mean it's wonderful. Mine was great. But I think we have to analyze who we're getting married for and what for. And
We have to
we're getting married or
be real with
pardon?
We have to be real with ourselves. We have to really, I don't think a lot of people are actually honest with themselves.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
like,
hard.
What do you want? And really take accountability.
Yeah. What do you want? Not what your mum wants or your sister thinks is the right thing. And it's the same with children. You know, many women don't want children. It's not, many do, but it's not something that that everybody wants or is even right for everybody. So, and at what age?
Books. Is there any like book that you recommend for, I don't know, women that, you know, I don't know, trying to like start out or trying to build their character?
No, I haven't got a book. I don't have a book like that to recommend, honestly. No.
Or any like fun reading or anything that you think will be motivational for women to just be like, it's not, life doesn't end at 30. Life doesn't end at 40.
Yeah, I don't have any books like that, but I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts and things, and YouTube, and watch this. I mean, you can get lost in YouTube watching the most beautiful things and hearing the most inspiring messages. So I can't think of a book off the top of my head, but
with podcasts,
a lot of wonderful. I mean, Elizabeth Gilbert, I know, has got wonderful messages always. Brené Brown. There's so much information. That really helps us to analyze things that we believe in.
Deborah, what would you tell your younger self if you could?
You know, it's interesting because I don't know that I would have changed anything that I did. I don't know that. Some people say to me, should you have done this earlier or started, you know, earlier? But no, because everything happens in its own time, I think. I might want to tell her not to be afraid, perhaps, and not to measure herself against others' expectations. Yeah, and that it's going to get better.
That it always does, right?
Don't be fearful. You know, my 20s are great, my 30s were great, my 40s were great, but my 50s have been the best. So
really,
I'll be 60 next year. So
oh my gosh, amazing. So life has started in your 50s.
Yeah, well, I had my 40s were lovely too, but I mean, everything's changed in my 50s. It's quite, my life is very, very different now, and it's very interesting.
Wow.
Didn't see it coming at all. I mean, I didn't plan to change everything up. And
what does your daughter say about, you know, mum being an influencer?
She's completely behind me. She's amazing. She and I are very close, and we're great friends. And no, she's great.
She must
just,
love.
you go.
So
she
proud
calls
of
me,
mum.
you go, boo.
I love that. You go, boo. I love that.
You go, boo. Yeah, I've got a grandson as well. I don't know if you know. I've got a 16-year-old grandson. And he and I also, him and I have got such a lovely connection. We adore each other. Yeah. So,
wow.
and we cycle together. Well, we're not now because we're all locked in and locked down, and it's much trickier now. But yeah, he's my absolute. I adore the child.
Oh, I can imagine. It's how wonderful to have, you know, a daughter who's, you know, very good friend of yours, because obviously you had her fairly young, and then obviously your grandson, he's like 16. Yep. So he must have a great personality and very charismatic.
He's hilarious. He's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, I bet he adores you.
Yeah, we are great friends. He's lovely. Yeah.
So Deborah, I've got a question for you, and it's a question that I ask everyone. It's my wrapping up question, and I enjoy asking it ever so much. And the question is, if you had a magic wand and you could change one thing in the world, just one, what would it be and why? Everyone gets asked it. Everyone goes.
Magic wand. I think that the thing that and I mean, I fall short on it as well, but is for people to put themselves in other people's shoes more, to really that I would, because we're all the same, and we somehow don't get that.
True.
You know,
better than anyone else.
Yeah, so I would like to wave it, but there's so many things. Goodness, you can't ask me for one. That was the first one. That was the first one that came to mind. Is for us to really
be more compassionate,
really understand, and to listen to understand, not to. And that's another societal thing where we have these sort of autopilot responses, and we very much. It's a lot about what you were saying as well earlier. It's not about, well, that's not right. That's not right that you're not married, or that's not right that you haven't had children. So it's to seek to listen to hear and to understand everybody else somehow.
Yeah, no, I get that. Everyone has a different journey. No one can compare their journey to someone. You can't. There's too many combinations. We're too unique. There's no other Deborah in the world. There's no other Joanna in the world. So how can it be another path of your path? It's just, there might be similarities with people, and therefore you might have things in common. But at the end of the day, we're all very different. So we forget that when we meet people,
Yes.
when we have our
Yes.
own frustrations, when we get angry, when we have a go at the postman, or I don't know, because of, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like when you're driving and there's road rage or whatever, it's like, stop, slow down and think, hold on a second.
Yeah. And we're all guilty of it. I mean, we all do it. I mean, I'm to count myself in there as well, but it's something I'm working on that one. I'm trying that one. That's one of my missions.
Well, I mean, I think I love that. I love what you've said. And I just want to thank you so much, Deborah, for this interview. You've been fantastic. Your energy is amazing. You're absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
Keep doing you, boo.
Thank you, boo. Yes.
Because you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you so much. And thanks. Lovely to meet you. I hope I meet you in person one day.
I know, when you come to London, please send me a message and we'll go for a coffee.
We'll have to.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
If you can just save this video or post it so I can get the link, and then I'm going to put it on YouTube.
I will sort it out. I'll let you know. Thank you, Joanna. It was lovely to meet you.
Darling. Big kiss.
Bye-bye. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.